Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about The Housemaid. So this film follows Millie, played by Sydney Sweeney, as she accepts a live-in housemaid job for Nina and Andrew Winchester, and it quickly devolves into a game of secrets, scandal, and power. Now, one of the first things I really enjoyed about this film is how it takes things that are incredibly mundane, like normal housework, and it turns it into something that can be incredibly tense. Something as simple as folding clothes or washing the dishes quickly turns into blow-up situations in this film. And so anytime she is doing something, it leaves you on the edge of your seat, even though she could be doing something incredibly simple. And throughout these incredibly tense domestic situations that the film takes you through, it does a very good job of leading the audience along without hand-holding you. It doesn't feel the need to outright explain everything, while it still gives you enough clues to start to see where the film is trying to go. And even though you can start to put together where this film might be going at multiple points throughout the story, it does a very good job of introducing one new detail or introducing one new plot point that throws you off the scent just enough to make you question if you really know where the film is going. And I really appreciated that. The film also goes out of its way to try to fill some of the more egregious plot holes that it could have easily fallen into. For example, most people would leave this job fairly quickly once it started going south. However, because the writers need an excuse for Millie to stay, they come up with a quite creative idea to have her be on parole, and she needs a job in order to stay out of jail. And it shows that she has not had much luck in the job force otherwise, so this is basically her last chance. And now you have a crystal clear picture of why a person would stay in such an awful situation for such a long time, and making it believable, because the alternative is jail. And all of these crazy household blow-ups actually brings me to what I believe is the best part of the film, and that is Amanda Seyfried's performance. She is able to escalate from the caring and doting housewife into the most psychotic person you have ever met on the drop of a dime. It is absolutely fantastic the way where even when she is being the kindest person you could possibly imagine, you feel like you're walking on eggshells because you never know when she is just going to turn around and blow up. And it's not one of those oscillating performances where they are being genuinely nice and then being genuinely terrifying or putting on the terror or anything like that. She is one of those people and gives one of those performances where, yes, I can see that you're being nice. I can see that you are going out of your way to do kind things, but behind your eyes, I can see that something is off there. And the movie does a very good job of not only making you live in that for a while, but then recontextualizing it at the end of the film. So then when you go back and you know what the twist is, that performance is going to get even better because you're going to see the whole backstory that the writers have given her and that she has built up in her eyes. And that is, as someone who's gone to school for acting, that is an outstanding thing that she was able to give a performance like that. I also really enjoyed Brandon Skelner's performance in this. He wasn't quite as in your face as Amanda Seyfried, but I do also believe it's going to be one of those performances where you go back and you look at it upon rewatch, and you're going to see some things that were probably pretty easy to miss on the initial watch. I also do think that once the film really kicks into gear in the second half, he does some things that are very entertaining, so definitely want to shout out his performance as well. Now, while I did enjoy the movie quite a bit more than I was expecting to, there are a few things that brought it down for me. So, first off is the elephant in the room. Any Sydney Sweeney movie that comes out these days is going to have its share of scrutiny. I'm not really here to get into that. I just want to talk about the performance. And overall, I thought she was okay. I didn't think she was egregiously bad, but there were a few very serious scenes that I felt she was just not on the same wavelength as everybody else that was operating in it with her. She has this tendency in very, very serious and elevated scenes where that almost Valley Girl accent that she has will come out, and it makes it very, very hard to take it seriously when you're in a life or death situation and it almost sounds like you are talking about a new food spot you found on TikTok. The performance isn't terrible. There's just a couple of lines here or there that I was just like, why was that delivered in that way? I don't understand what the character motivation or the objective was in that moment. So overall, she was fine in the movie. It's just next to Amanda Seyfried the entire film, it kind of brings it down. And getting back into the plot, while I do think and I do commend the movie for trying to justify some of the more absurd plot points it has, there comes to a point where I feel like if she was able to gather evidence of what was happening or something like that and was able to go to her parole officer and say, hey, I have this job, but it is a nightmare and I'm just trying to get something else, I feel like she could have gotten out of it. Or I feel like in a normal situation, we could have avoided this getting to the outcome that it did. Now, it is a movie. It is a thriller. You do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit. I do think there comes a point where no rational person would stick around. And continuing off of the awkward points with the plot, there is a final sort of stinger scene at the end that makes no sense given the development that both characters involved have gone through in this film. They're just put into a situation that, after getting through what they have been through in the main bulk of the film, there's absolutely no way they would put themselves into that situation. And so it just kind of leaves you feeling, what is the point if you're going right back out of the frying pan into the fire? It makes literally no sense unless there's like sequels somehow, which I don't know if the book has a sequel. If it does, like, it really doesn't make sense. It's a standalone thing. But overall, it was just kind of weird. Now, with all that being said, I did have a good time at this movie. It wasn't a movie that I really was excited for or was particularly set on going to see, but I'm glad that I went out to the theater and saw it. It's a solid little thriller. It's not going to be on anybody's movie of the year list, I don't think, but it's also not going to be one that you're going to walk out thinking, why did I waste my time going to see this? And with that being said, I'm giving it a solid 3 out of 5. I think if you want a movie to just go kill some time and see at the theater, it's great for that. Or wait for it to come out on streaming. And overall, I think that in a year that's kind of had a lot of ups and downs, it's nice to just have a middle-of-the-road, fine thriller come out. Alright guys, if you got to the end, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you enjoyed, like, share, and subscribe, because I would much rather do this than my day job. But in all seriousness, thank you guys.